Betting Machine by Matthew Spence. Dave and Paul had known that the casino would be big. They just weren't prepared for how damn big it really was. There were rows of slot machines, gaming tables, and pits for the wealthy customers, the whales, who came in on the weekends. But it was late afternoon in the middle of the week, and the casino was less than half full. Most of the customers were idling at the slot machines, but there was one game in particular that they'd come here to check out. "There it is," Paul said, pointing at a machine that stood prominently on the casino floor. Dave nodded. It was about their height and resembled an old-style arcade machine of the kind that Dave remembered from his childhood. "Okay," he said, "why don't you go try one of the slot machines for a while I try it out?" Paul frowned. He still didn't know why his friend was so interested in one machine, but he shrugged and walked off as Dave went up to the machine and confidently dropped the token in. The token was good for multiple plays, which was unusual for most games. Dave stood at the machine, his face reflected, ghost-like, in the screen as other ghost-like figures drifted in and out of his peripheral vision. Dave ignored them and concentrated on the center of the screen, repeating his plays as the minutes became an hour, and then another. Paul found him there, still standing at the machine, frozen in place. With the help of 2 security guards that had come with him, he managed to steer him away from the machine. "What's going on?" Dave asked, visibly dazed, as if hypnotized. "Did I finally score?" "Yeah, we have to cash out now," Paul reassured him. As a matter of fact, Dave had won quite a bit during the game, but he'd put most of it back into tokens that he'd used over and over again. Paul didn't say so out loud, certainly not in front of the guards, but he knew that Dave had never really been allowed to win, like other casinos they'd been to the house really won. They were resting back at the hotel when they got a knock on their door. Dave was asleep, having been too exhausted to even eat any dinner. Paul opened the door to find a man in an elegant suit standing there. "The house management wanted to give your friend this, with our compliments and an apology," he said, handing Paul an envelope. After he left, Paul opened it. It was several $1,000s in cash, along with one of the casino's business cards. A handwritten note on the back read, "For your friend's troubles, without thanks and in recognition of being a good sport, we know a winner when we see one. Please come again sometime. Sincerely yours, the management." Paul put the money back in the envelope and laid it on the nightstand next to Dave's bed. He wondered what Dave would say when he woke up. He'd most likely brag about how he'd finally scored, and maybe he had, but Paul couldn't help but wonder the price hadn't been too high. If the house hadn't really won after all. The end.